The Galactic Coliseum stretched beyond the horizon, its crystalline walls humming with the anticipation of 1 billion spectators. Representatives from every corner of the galaxy had gathered for the Trials of Supremacy, a contest that determined which species would claim dominion over the contested sectors of space. Zexathara, the predator king of the Vorthak Empire, stood 12 feet tall on his throne of obsidian bone. His forearms ended in razor-sharp claws, and his serpentine tail coiled with barely contained violence. Scars from 1,000 battles crisscrossed his chitinous hide, each mark a trophy of his countless victories. For 3 centuries, no species had dared challenge Vorthak supremacy in these trials. "Behold!" Zexathara's voice boomed across the arena, his translator broadcasting to every corner of the galaxy. The pathetic humans sent forth their champion. Laughter rippled through the alien crowds. The crystalline hive minds tinkled like breaking glass. The gas-based nebuloids wheezed in amusement. Even the stoic Silicon Confederacy's representatives allowed their light patterns to flicker with mirth. Standing in the center of the vast arena was Maya Chen, 8 years old, barely 4 feet tall, wearing nothing but simple brown clothes and carrying a worn backpack. She looked impossibly small against the backdrop of the colossal stadium, a speck of humanity in an ocean of alien derision. A child? Zexathara's mandibles clicked together in what passed for Vorthak laughter. Have the humans finally acknowledged their inferiority by offering us a snack instead of a warrior? The human delegation sat in stony silence in their viewing box. Ambassador Harrison clenched his fists, knowing they had no choice. Earth's colonies were under siege, their trade routes blocked, their people starving. The Galactic Council had decreed that only victory in the trials could restore humanity's rights. But their greatest warriors had all fallen in the preliminary rounds, leaving only Maya, selected not for her strength but for reasons none of the aliens could comprehend. Maya adjusted her backpack and looked up at the Predator King without fear. "My name is Maya Chen from Earth. I'm here to compete." The arena erupted in fresh waves of alien laughter. Zexathara's 4 eyes glowed with predatory hunger. "Little morsel, do you know what these trials entail? Combat to the death. Survival in the void chambers. Conquest of the nightmare maze. You will be torn apart in the first challenge." "Maybe," Maya said simply, "but I'm still going to try." The first trial began immediately. Both contestants were teleported to the void chambers, pocket dimensions filled with every conceivable terror designed to break the mind and spirit. Zexathara materialized in a realm of burning acid rain and flying blade creatures. He tore through them with practiced ease, his claws rending reality itself. Meanwhile, Maya found herself in a dimension of absolute darkness, where whispers promised her every fear made manifest. But instead of cowering, she sat down, opened her backpack, and pulled out a small flashlight. The beam cut through the supernatural darkness like it was nothing more than a cloudy night. "Scared of the dark?" she asked the whispering voices. "I used to be too, but my mom taught me something. Sometimes the scariest things disappear when you shine a light on them." She walked forward calmly, her small light somehow holding back terrors that had driven seasoned warriors mad. The second trial was the Nightmare Maze, a shifting labyrinth that adapted to trap each contestant in their deepest psychological prison. Zexathara found himself reliving his worst defeats, fighting shadow versions of enemies he'd barely escaped from. His rage and bloodlust, usually his greatest weapons, became chains that bound him deeper in the maze's coils. Maya entered a maze that showed her Earth burning, her family crying, humanity enslaved. But instead of despair, she felt something else entirely. She pulled a small notebook from her backpack and began drawing. Not maps of the maze, but pictures of her family, her dog, her favorite tree in the park back home. "The maze feeds on fear and anger," she said to herself, her child's voice echoing in the twisted corridors. "But I'm not afraid or angry. I'm homesick. And being homesick isn't scary. It just means you have somewhere worth going back to." The maze, designed to trap beings in their worst emotions, had no power over someone motivated by love rather than fear. Maya walked straight through walls that existed only to contain negative emotions. The final trial was single combat. Zexathara, bloodied and enraged from his struggles in the previous challenges, faced Maya in the arena's center. The betting pools across the galaxy showed odds of 10 million to 1 against the human child. "I will make your death quick, little one," Zexathara growled, his claws extending to their full 3-foot length. "You fought bravely for prey. Maya looked up at the towering alien warrior and did something no one expected. She smiled. Mr. Zexthara, can I ask you something? The Predator King paused, confused by the unexpected question. What? Why are you so angry all the time? The question hung in the air like a suspended blade. Across the galaxy, billions of beings held their breath. I am not angry, child. I am strong. I am a predator. I am lonely, Maya finished softly. My teacher says that people who hurt others are usually just really, really sad inside. Zexathara's forearms trembled. No one had ever asked him about his feelings. In Vorthak culture, emotion was weakness. Strength was everything. But this small human was looking at him like he was just another person who needed kindness. Maya reached into her backpack one final time and pulled out a small handmade friendship bracelet. I made this on the ship. I was going to give it to whoever I met who looked like they needed a friend. She held it out to the 12-foot killing machine. The arena fell silent. A trillion beings watched as the most feared predator in the galaxy stared at a simple bracelet made of colored string. Zexathara's hand shook as he reached down to accept it. The moment his claw touched the small gift, something inside his chest, something he'd thought dead for centuries, began to crack. Tears, an emotion Vorthak were physically capable of but culturally forbidden from showing, began to flow down his scarred face. He whispered, his voice breaking. I haven't had a friend in 300 years. Maya beamed up at him. Well, you do now. The Predator King, terror of 1,000 worlds, knelt down in the arena and wept. Not from defeat, but from the overwhelming realization that strength wasn't about who you could hurt. It was about who you chose to protect. The Galactic Council had no choice but to declare humanity the victor. But more than that, Maya had done something no warrior ever could. She had shown the galaxy that sometimes the greatest power wasn't the ability to destroy, but the courage to care. As the crowds roared in amazement and the human delegation celebrated their impossible victory, Maya was already planning her next project. She had a whole galaxy full of potential friends, after all, and they all looked like they could use a hug.